Ladies and gentlemen, in today's lecture, I would like to teach you about what is intuitionism, difference between intuitionism and transcendentalism, what is id, what is ego, and what is superego, what is conscious, unconscious in NLP science, and what's difference between totality and relativity, especially with respect to intuitionism. So let's discuss about intuitionisms and transcendentalism. Before discussing intuitionism, I would like to discuss about transcendentalism. So transcendentalism is a movement that started around about 1830 in America. So before that, we had a movement romanticism that was started in England, and their poets, they were talking about nature, passion, feelings, and they believe in the purity of the heart. Talk about John Keats, talk about P.B. Shelley, talk about the poet like Wordsworth, Coleridge, and all. They had a belief in heart. Wherever you're feeling your passion, your heart feeling, they are taking you. You are writing poetry. So they believe in heart, and as John Keats said, I believed in the holiness of the heart. So same way they write through heart, passion, feelings. So their poetry is related to passion, feelings. And before them, we had writer, neoclassical writer like Dryden Johnson's and Alexander Pope. So they were writing in objective manners by following the scientific, approach and objectivities, and they were writing through rules and regulations, especially classic rules and regulation. So in 1830, we had a movement, political, religious, and you can say uh, like a philosophical movement, that was transcendentalism. Trans mean rise above. So how they are going to rise above goodness of man, glories of the nature, and the free individual expressions. To say that one must create good relation with himself, then good relation with nature according to the transcendentalisms, good relation with nature, and ultimately free individual expressions. So whatever individual want, he or she should come up with this feeling, passions. So in a way to understand this, there is a writer Elizabeth Gilbert. If you have studied her work, she has written book. Uh, she she gives three phases in her book. If you study this book, there are three phases. First of all, love and pray. First of all, eat, love, pray, and love. So in this book, which is totally based on transcendentalist approach and totally portraying philosophy of transcendentalisms, Elizabeth Gilbert shows through her protagonist, she is moving. First of all, she goes to Italy. Over there, she drinks and she enjoys this uh, mouth-watering dishes, and she's eating and enjoying the different beautiful dishes. So she portrays idea of transcendental approach. So she's exploring herself, and then she moves towards India. Over there, she explores character, explores different religious experience, going to different temples and enjoying the religious experience, and ultimately embrace a religious feeling. So finally, she moves to Bali. So over there, she fell in love with somebody, and she got her love partner. So you can observe from her book, especially Elizabeth Gilbert books, she portrays the transcendental approach. So there are writer, they formed a club. So in this, in this club, we had a writer like they are the founder of the transcendental movement, transcendentalism or transcendental movement. Transmit, rise above, above. Transcendental mean you are moving above your perceptions, your thoughts, and you are thinking by going outside of this religious experience or physical experience. When you go beyond this, Basically, this idea was given by Plato. Plato, very first time, he gives a Platonic idea, utopian idea. So same utopian idea later, that was converted or translated or transformed or changed into the transcendental movement. So in 1830, there were a group of the peoples, and especially Ralph Waldo Emerson's. Then we have Henry David Thoreau. Then we had Margaret's, and then we had another member of the same group, Walt Whitman. They had religious, totally different religious, philosophical, and political experience. So they want to write their own kind of literature, not following the conventional style of the British. They started writing different approaches. Walt Whitman, he copied and he enjoyed the concept of Ralph Waldo, and he started writing. So he writes in the leaves of grass. So he had written that whatever body I have, you have the same body. I enjoy myself. So what if I enjoy myself, you should enjoy you. The atomic combination, my body is embracing, or my body is having same combination, or atomic combination your body is having. So I am also mixtures and combination of same atomic body, and same combination of atomic body your body is having. So if I am enjoying, you should enjoy. So if you want to see your enjoyment, you can see the other enjoyment. If somebody is enjoying, so same approach, you can also enjoy. Whatever I am having, you are having. Whatever I enjoy, you can enjoy, because individual is part of the whole universe. They are in fact emphasizing on individual. Before that, writer, they were talking about know thyself. Here they say that know nature. If you really want to experience nature, since nature, we are part of the natures, and if we observe nature and observe this universe and nature, ultimately we are observing ourselves. Whatever we find in nature, we find in our soul. So to know thyself, to know yourself, you must know nature, you must know universe. So once you know nature, you are, in fact, you are interacting with your soul. So soul is also whatever you have in your soul, in fact, you enjoy in the nature. So nature and soul is one, and they first of all emphasize on individual. So individual is everything according to the transcendental writers. So they had a group, they formed a group, and they started writing with new approach. Walt Whitman, Emerson Waldo, and Henry David Thoreau. So these writers, they were enjoying, they were writing, and Henry David Thoreau said that if you want to enjoy nature, you must enjoy through experiencing nature. So by making experiment or just experience nature, you can enjoy. So then there is a concept of intuitionism. Intuitionism and transcendentalism, there is a difference between intuitionism and transcendentalism. Transcendentalism is having great focus on experiencing nature through individual, through your, by knowing thyself, yourself, and interacting yourself with nature. Then ultimately individual freedom. They all the key parameter. They are key parameter of transcendentalism. In transcendentalism, when we talk about the goodness of a man, we are in fact talking about the genius in the goodness, changes, intuitions, infancy, spirituality, in individual, especially with respect to the goodness of the man. So in goodness of the man, what we have genius, we have change, we have intuition, we have infancy, we have spirituality. So when we talk about the glories of the nature, in glories of the nature, you can enjoy the glory of the nature. How you are going to enjoy the glory of the nature? You can enjoy through solitude, through living in now. So you should start living now, because we all the time living in future or in past. In fact, according to people like transcendental writers and transcendental scholar, they say that present moment is important. Once you enjoy present moment, you will be interacting and resonating with nature. So how you are going to resonate with nature? If you know the art of living now. So solitudeness, once you in solitude, you can better interact with nature through solitude, living in the now, living in now, and simplicity. In simplicity or simple way of living, you can enjoy and interact with the nature. And then simplicity, and then interconnected with nature. Once you know how to interact, you will simply understand it. As I have already give you example of Elizabeth Gilbert's work. There is uh, there is love. And first of all, we have there is eating, which mean just making experiment or experiencing nature. First of all, there is experience. She's experiencing nature. She is enjoying different dishes, different meals in Italy, and then she moves to the religious experience, and especially she goes to India, and after that she goes to Bali. So over there she enjoys and she embraced her love. She got her love. So there are three patterns. So first pattern, knowing, she is knowing herself, making experience with nature. So then she moves to the India, where she's getting religious experiences. Finally she gets her, her beloved. Then non-conformity shows we get in individual freedoms. He or she should be given freedoms. Religious is a matter with God. It is ultimately God is gonna give you punishment, not a priest, not religion. So mostly religious people like Puritan, they were saying to people, if you are not following Bible and Christ or Christianity, you will go to hell. So these transcendental writers say that it is a matter of the God and you. You can enjoy power of God in any every element of nature. So once you resonate and embrace nature, you can enjoy the power of nature, the soul of God. So every god of soul of the God is a higher self. And your soul, when interact with the higher or universe, then you can really resonate with the nature, according to transcendental writers and scholars and philosophers. So they say, first of all, you must get conformity. So non-conformity means rejecting the orthodox and fundamental ideas of Christianity, making practicing religious belief, following orthodox way, especially religious members, priests, churches, and Puritans. Then authenticity, self-reliance, and individuality. Our individuality and individual is very important, according to the Ralph Waldo Emerson's, and then Henry Thoreau's, and then writers like Walt Whitman. Now we are going to discuss about intuitionism and transcendental. We discussed about transcendentalism. Let's see what is the definition of intuitionism. Intuitionism means something instinctively. When something occurs to you instinctively, naturally, through your gut feeling, through your sixth sense, through your third eyes, through your instinctive approach, you are getting knowledge rather than using your conscious knowledge. You are using data or information is coming through unconscious brain or unconscious knowledge. Something is coming rather than empirically or rationally or something consciously. You are not going to get information through conscious, by seeing something, by sensing something, or by your conscious mind. Rather, you get through unconscious or instinctive manner. So you can say that to understand, ability to understand something instinctively, it is known as intuitionism. So without conscious reasoning, you don't need to make conscious reasoning in a way to learn, especially knowledge of the intuitionism. So I want to give you some meaning so that you can comprehend intuitionism. Intuitionism mean apprehensions of knowledge or immediate apprehensions of knowledge. It mean you get something quick or ready, you get something through insight. So transcendentalism is another thing. It is it's mere concept of utopian concept of Platonic idealisms, and it's been taken from the Platonic concept, and later it was translated or converted into the transcendentalism. But intuitionism is your third eyes, it's your sixth sense, it's your imaginations, it's your you have quick knowledge, it's your sixth sense, it's your penetration, it comes to it's come to sixth sense, it's a foresight knowledge, it is your psyche, it's your discernment, and you get quick discernment, quick knowledge. And different philosopher writers, they have explained it a different way. So talk about the Bergsons. Bergson, he has worked especially on intuitionism. He has given concept of absolute absolutisms, and there is a relative understanding. He says that something about object or anything, you may get idea in a relative forms, or you can get absolute understanding. So according to Bergsons, if you know something, if you learn something about any object or anything, when you know something, when you understand something thoroughly, when you understand absolute information or knowledge about something, it is in fact your intuitions. But when you have relative knowledge, relative understanding, relative discernment, relative understanding about any topic, subject, or anything, it is known as your experience. So there is experience, there is a difference between experience and true understanding or absolute understanding. Absolute understanding is known according to Bergson, it is known as your intuitions. But when you have relative information, when you have relative understanding, not thorough understanding, not complete understanding, it will be known as your experience according to the Bergsons. So different people, they had different idea, like Sigmund Freud, or and then Bergson, and you can talk about Carl Jung. So different philosophers, psychologists, they had different approach by taking this word, especially intuitionism. According to Carl Jung say this is intuitionism or intuitive knowledge or intuitive experience. Basically, it is unconscious experience. It's unconscious knowledge. It comes through unconscious. You don't need to use your reasoning, your conscious knowledge to learn this thing. And according to Carl Jung, you will blame again and again your fate until you turn your unconscious into conscious. We basically acquire data through our empiricism or rational thought. Rational mean when you learn something through reason. By reasoning something, you learn something. But when you get thing empirically, it means you are receiving something through your senses. We have five senses, and the senses of touch, taste, smell, sound, sight. So if you further go to NLP, neuro linguistic programming. Neuro mean brain, linguistic language, and programming. It's a pattern which we formed through our brain and our language. They both come together, they form patterns. And the programming, we've taken word from computer. So in neuro linguistic programming, we talk about VAK. We mean visual. We see things, we see whatever I am seeing, it is basically I am taking in my brain. So there is a left side of the brain which is related to language, and right side of the brain, which is related to productions and reception and perceptions. They are working, and they are doing their work. So what happened? We take data through visual forms. Whatever I'm seeing in front of me, like mobile and these mouse and these tripod and bottles and these images in front of me, these are coming through visual experience. So we take data through visual experience. Then we get data through auditory forms, which is known as V mean visual, and then auditory mean, A mean auditory, and then K mean kinesthesia. So we see something when they are moving and showing some signal gestures in front of us. We can forget things until unless we are gaining, or we are getting data information through VAK. So VAK is very important, especially for our students and for learners. If we perform something through VAK in front of our students, they are not going to forget things. So we are going to discuss same approach, conscious and unconscious, with respect to NLP. How we explain conscious and unconscious with respect to NLP. For the moment, you just leave your definitions. According to psychoanalysis theory, especially according to Sigmund Freud, we have conscious mind is something that I'm talking to you. You are understanding whatever I'm talking. I'm using my conscious brain, and I'm talking to you through my conscious mind. So you are in front of me, and you are perceiving me, and seeing in front of you, watching me, and you are perceiving, receiving your um, empirical way, or rational way. Whatever you are getting, it is your conscious brain. So your conscious brain is functioning. Then we have a subconscious mind, according to Sigmund Freud. So especially our conscious mind is active one, and whatever we are doing through conscious. And then we have subconscious, and ultimately subconscious, according to Sigmund Freud, which you can explain easily. So data is in your subconscious, according to Sigmund Freud, if you can recall easily. For example, if somebody says me that what is the definition of literature, I will easily explain. So the definition of literature is a mirror of society. It reflects society, so I can recall easily. Literature is a hammer with which you can mend society. If somebody asks me what is the definition of a computer, I will say that because it is in my subconscious, I can recall it easily. So how I'm going to recall? Computer is an electronic machines. It receives data in the form of the input, process it, and show us a result in the form of output. So whatever you have in your subconscious, you can recall easily. So there is something, according to Sigmund Freud, that is in your unconscious. There are some trauma, there are some experience, there are something you've forgotten. There are some phobias, there are some fears, there are some resentment, there are some better experience, there are some tragedies. So there are some bad dreams. They are lying in your unconscious, according to Sigmund Freud. And he says that whatever man is derived through unconscious experience, they are lying, and they are released in the form of dream and in the form of sudden experience, according to Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud has also given us concept of id, ego, and superego. According to Sigmund Freud, id mean your natural impulses. When child is doing something through your natural impulses, for example, he's eating, making merry, and he's enjoying, and he is doing something naturally, and natural impulses are lying in your id. Then we have superego. Superego is totally related to norms, rules, norms, manners of society, and they are extreme. One, it is also in extreme, and all at the same time, we have superego. They are also at another extreme border. So to mediate, to get the golden mean, or to get the center of id and superego, we need ego. For example, I'm very conscious about my health. I don't want to eat candy because it can give me disease. I can damage my teeth. It can be bad for my health. So there are a lot of candies in front of me, and I'm interested to eat because my id is forcing me to eat all these candies. But at the same time, there are the rules, there are norms, there are, some conditions. Condition is that once I eat it, I can get ill. I can get, my teeth can, it can harm my teeth, it can harm my health, and it's not good for health. So I will then balance. Since there are 20, 50 candies, then I take only one. I take only two. So this is what I am using my ego. There is a lady, she's very interested about her diet. And there, there, there you, she finds there is a samosa, she finds some sweet, and it's not good for her health. And when the same lady, she's also applying her id at the same time, superego. Superego demands that once you eat something, you will lose your, you will have weight, it will harmful for your diet, it will harmful for your health. So she will create balance. She will use her ego by striking the balance, creating the balance in id and superego. So this is what the concept of id, ego, and superego. Ego is basically balance between two extreme of id and superego. So this was, concept of psychoanalysis theory by Sigmund Freud. And Sigmund Freud also, he has told five stages of, life. So first stage is oral stage, and then their oral stage, there is the anal stage, then philic stage, and then the latency stage, and then genital stage. So in the age of, up to 5 age, up to 5 year old child is, in fact, when he's around about 5 year old, according to Sigmund Freud, child is involved in Oedipus complex. Oedipus concept is basically mythology that he has taken concept from the Greek drama. Oedipus is inclined towards to have sex with his mother. So this concept he has taken from the, Oedipus complex. So he says that there is Electra complex, Oedipus complex, when female is inclined toward father, when daughter is inclined toward fathers, it is Electra complex. When mother is inclined and son is inclined towards mother, it is known as Oedipus complex. So then there is a concept of totality and relativity. I have already discussed the concept of the Bergson. Bergson say that there is a totality. When you know everything, it is basically your intuitive knowledge. And when you know something in a relative form, not sure, not proper, it is your experience. Hope in today's lecture you have learned about what is intuitionism versus transcendentalism. Then you've learned about id, ego, and superego. I have taught you about conscious, unconscious, and subconscious with respect in the science of NLP, and I've explained you the concept of Bergson's great philosopher, totality and relativity. Don't forget to subscribe and like the ESL Academy, because in ESL Academy we are discussing topic like spirituality, religion, philosophy, and metaphysics, epistemology. We are discussing about linguistic, literature, biology, chemistry, physics. So all topic related to science will be discussed, and I want that you should comment in the comment section. You should put your comment so that I give you answers. If you want to take lecture related to any topic, from natural sciences to other social sciences, you want to take any lecture, you want to attend any lecture, so just put your comment. I will create video for you. Stay blessed and have a nice time. Hope you have learned a lot.